I still remember the way it felt, like my heart had been crushed beneath 1,000 stones when I watched her, my beloved Luna, dart across the street. And that reckless driver, drunk on his own arrogance, didn't even flinch. The screech of tires, the sickening crunch, and then silence. She was gone. Just like that, my world shattered in an instant. The weeks that followed were a blur of grief and humiliation. My family told me to move on, to forget, but I couldn't. Everyone whispered that I was weak, that I should be grateful I wasn't hurt too. They said I'd fail, that I was a disgrace for caring so much about a dog, my loyal friend, my family. I felt abandoned, cast aside by a world that refused to see the pain I carried. But beneath the ashes of my broken heart, rage ignited. I swore I wouldn't let her memory fade into silence. I decided then and there I would prove that her death was not in vain. I started collecting every shred of evidence I could find. Photos of her injuries, the reckless boasting I overheard, the reckless speed of that driver's vehicle. I knew I had to act, not just in grief, but in defiance. One night, I followed him to a bar, my heart pounding with a mixture of fury and purpose. I stayed hidden, listening as he laughed with friends, bragging about how fast he'd driven that night, how he'd almost lost it, but had gotten away with it. My stomach turned. His words dripped with arrogance, oblivious to the life he'd shattered. I recorded every word, every boast, every reckless admission. That was my evidence, my weapon. The next days were a storm of action. I turned that evidence over to the authorities, but I didn't stop there. I launched a campaign, speaking at community meetings, sharing Luna's story, and exposing his dangerous bravado. I used social media to shine a light on reckless drivers like him, transforming my sorrow into a movement that demanded change. Stricter regulations, harsher punishments, these became my mission. Years passed. I built a life rooted in strength, resilience, and purpose. I became a voice for those who had been silenced, a force for justice in a system that too often looked away. And then I returned home, stronger, wiser, unbreakable. The day I faced the people who doubted me, I stood in front of that same town square. The whispers, the doubts, they all faded into silence as I spoke. I told them about Luna, about the recklessness that took her from us, and about how I refused to be broken by grief. I revealed the evidence, the truths that had been buried beneath years of silence. And in that moment, I saw their faces, some ashamed, some inspired, all silent. I realized then that my pain had forged me into someone unstoppable. I had turned my deepest sorrow into a catalyst for change, transforming grief into power. Luna's spirit, my pain, and my relentless pursuit of justice had created a movement, one that would stand long after I was gone. That day, I didn't just confront the past, I reclaimed it, and I proved that even in the depths of heartbreak, there is a strength that no one can take away, a strength that can rewrite the story, that can bring poetic justice to those who hurt us. Luna's memory lives on, not as a symbol of loss, but as a beacon of resilience and hope.